Okay, everybody, so this is my spoiler review of the Wednesday season finale, A Murder of Woes. This, again, was written by showrunners Alfred Goff and Miles Miller and directed by James Marshall, like the previous episode. Like always, please subscribe to the channel. Not only am I reviewing this show, I review a bunch of other shows as well, movie reviews and celebrity interviews, so you're going to check that out. I really appreciate that. You can also follow me at Steve Varley Show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for more of me. Jumping into this review, this finale to me maybe felt a little too much like a Netflix finale where it's almost too fast-paced for its own good and is kind of rushing to conclusion, where it kind of lost a little bit of that good flow this whole show has had. I think one of the challenges was having really two antagonists here, now being Tyler the Monster and then Thornhill, aka Laurel Gates, and having to reveal both of them. So having the cliffhanger last episode that Tyler was a monster was a big cliffhanger, but I feel like it would have been more effective if somehow we could have had Laurel Gates' Thornhill reveal before the finale, so we can ease into that big reveal instead of having it come in towards like the beginning of this episode, which makes everything then feel rushed to resolve really quick with Crackstone. So I think they kind of wrote themselves a little bit of a trap, because that's the challenge of having two antagonists and two reveals like that. But so be it. I did think it was interesting that Tyler did really fully embrace, once he realized what he was over time, he was like, oh, this is delicious, and these people he killed, and didn't feel remorse for it. I thought that was interesting. I thought they were going to go more the angle that he wasn't fully aware of what was happening when he was the monster, but that eventually when he did realize what was happening, he was cool with it. So I'm actually shocked they went that route, and I hope they delve into that more in season 2 exactly. I'm sure they're leaving a redemption arc open for Tyler. I like they also revealed that the father, the sheriff, this whole time was scared that he was going to be like Tyler's mother, who he revealed was a Hyde as well. And that Tyler was a spy monster here, not only just being this monster, but spying on Wednesday. Some great Wednesday lines per usual, though. When she's talking to Enid early in the episode, she says, anytime I grow nauseous at the sight of a rainbow or hear a pop song that makes my ears bleed, I'll think of you. I thought that was great. I also thought there was this great meta moment in the show when Thornhill gives Wednesday a parting gift plant and says, it symbolizes destiny and renewal. You're a very talented young woman, Wednesday. I can't wait to see what you do next. This to me was very meta, because it really was, to me, Christina Ricci passing the torch to Jenna Ortega, giving the seal of approval, blessing from one former Wednesday to another. I really like that. And I really like it came full circle at the end, that it was Christina Ricci and Jenna Ortega in the final showdown, just the former Wednesday versus the new Wednesday. I like that. Now, one of my standouts for the finale was actually Eugene. I thought this was some of his best stuff. I love he's got all the B merch at the hospital that's being given to him. And he says, I heard you visit me all the time to Wednesday. And she's like, don't ever mention it again. That was great. And then when he's saying Hummers stick together, this line that's been going throughout the show, it does remind me a lot of the Goonies Never Say Die, or Stranger Things, Friends Don't Lie. And this finale feels like a Stranger Things finale, because it's like the group all getting together now and versing the evil foe. It's interesting, though, when Eugene recalls the boots that were on Thornhill being red when the explosion happened. That's how it then Wednesday connects as Thornhill. It's interesting because it made me think back to my episode 1 review, how Thornhill comes in with those really dirty boots right after that hiker was killed. So that was another big hint. There was a lot of big hints it was Thornhill, which you'll see in my previous reviews. But I do think a problem with this finale was there really wasn't any shocking reveals unless you really weren't paying attention. I mean, we knew all this kind of was coming here, so I was kind of waiting for that big drop, and it really didn't happen. But I did like there were certain things they tied together well, like having the cave shackles we saw earlier were actually where Tyler was being held by Thornhill, and that Thornhill was the one who let his mother know it was a Hyde. So I thought that was some really clever stuff. And I like this smart move by Wednesday when she confronts Thornhill to have Weems shapeshift as Tyler. So it was a nice payoff for all the shapeshifting Weems has done, and we get to see more of it. But it's sad they killed Weems, because Gwendoline and Christie did such a great performance here as someone who was looking out for Wednesday, but at the end of the day, dies when she finds out the real truth. Now, I like when Enid is making out with Ajax in her room. There's a hint at the wolfing out coming, because her claws come out, and he even mentions a full blood moon to her, and that asks her if she's wolfing out. And I love that Flight of the Bumblebee is the ringtone for Eugene when he calls Enid. And like I was saying, Eugene has a great episode here. He says when he sees Ajax, what's he doing in your room? And then says his mom, that Gorgon is a moron. That was great. Now we also get a moment here where Thing is explaining to Enid what's going on with Wednesday. Again, I love the scenes where Thing is just talking to someone, doing all these different hand signals, and they're understanding him. I think it's a great performance by Thing. And I thought it was also interesting. I was reading in the press notes for the show that Thing is actually played by a real life magician, and he's in a green screen bodysuit. So there's a man there the whole time in the set, and they have to erase his whole body except his hand. So he had to be in a lot of uncomfortable positions as well, supposedly. So really just cool stuff and amazing performance of a hand. Now, I did really like this standoff, like I'm saying, with Christina Ricci and Jenna Ortega here at the end. And we see the set of the crypt again, but it looks really cool here with all the candles, but also the blood moon peering in. That was a nice touch. I am shocked, though, how smart Wednesday's been this whole show, but really couldn't connect the dots that those body parts were being used to resurrect Crackstone. I think that was pretty obvious and a big oversight. So we see, though, that Wednesday was the key for Laurel Gates, aka Thornhill, to let Crackstone out, because the lock can only be opened by a blood descendant of Goody. So her whole endgame was to sacrifice Wednesday the night of the blood moon. And when we see Crackstone come out, he looks like the Leprechaun and a Halloween Town villain, Calabar, had a baby. And Crackstone stabs Wednesday, but we get this reveal that the necklace that Wednesday got from Morticia, her mom, Goody explains to her that that will let also spirits go through her, and then Goody can heal her, but she will never see her again. My favorite moment of the episode, though, which was a great, nice little reveal, and I actually didn't expect to see this season, was Enid wolfing out, and it was awesome. And you knew the minute Tyler confronted Wednesday, it was going to be an Enid versus Tyler showdown. And I love that Enid, the wolf, still has the pink hair. And great humorous moment here just thrown in here when we see Crackstone just yelling at Laurel Gates, who just resurrected him, and is like, "Silence, woman, be gone, or I'll cut thy tongue from thy wretched mouth." And she says, "Never meet your heroes." That was great. It is sad, though, when the sheriff sees Tyler as the monster, now knowing that he was always fearful of this. I would have liked a little more intel into the sheriff's reaction, though, because this was big, and they kind of just glossed over it. Like, what was that conversation between him and Tyler before Tyler's taken away? That's where things can kind of feel a little rushed. But I love Thing coming over to Enid at the end when she was coming back from being a werewolf. It was a nice little touch. They have a great relationship, those two. And what I did like was the resolution of we finally get to see this picture come to life with Wednesday versus Crackstone, the fire in the background, and Wednesday has a sword, and she takes an arrow for Xavier, so it redeems her getting him arrested and wrongly accusing him. And Bianca's the one who saves her, so that comes full circle from being enemies to having each other's back. And Wednesday's the one who kills Crackstone in the end. But I love that Laurel comes with the gun, but Eugene saves the day with the bees. That was awesome. However, it was strange that we see Wednesday kicks Laurel Gates, but we do not know what happened with her. So it was weird at the end of the episode on Tyler being the one, and that there's secrets, and what their end game is. We have no idea, though, where Laurel is or what just happened after that. Like, did she go to jail? Did they take her away? Where is she? So that was strange. I thought that was a missed opportunity. Because if you're going to show Tyler, why not show where Laurel is? But we'll see Enid runs to hug Wednesday, and this was a really nice moment because Wednesday first resists, but then that character growth they're talking about evolving hugs Enid back. That was really a great landing moment. Feels like a happy movie ending. This whole season feels like a kind of movie. Even though it is a show, it's a very movie type story. And we see the classes are canceled rest of the semester. So like I've talked about in my other reviews, a very Harry Potter feel here and a very Harry Potter type ending. I like too Wednesday finishes her book but leaves a question mark. So there's more to this story. And we see now that Xavier and Wednesday get back on good terms, and he gives her an iPhone. And that's where we see she's getting the stalker who's texting her and watching her. She's talking about it's going to be a forced vacation and secrets still lurking. And when talking about here where she says where Laurel Gates and Tyler just pawns in a bigger game, which was alluded to by Laurel Gates earlier in the episode. And she says, "I know the suspense is killing you." But again, this ending just feels really rushed. Because again, we didn't see Laurel here when she's saying that. We just saw Tyler. And it kind of just ends. And I was shocked there was no post-credits. Maybe that's only in the critics version that I got and not the full version. So let me know if there is a post-credits. Maybe I was just too hopeful that we get a Helena Bonham Carter as Grandmama reveal as a post-credits. Didn't happen. But I did think this would be a perfect show for some time, a post-credits scene. Something with a little bit of a reveal to get you excited. Still very solid, though. This wasn't my favorite episode of the season, but I still did really like it. And I just felt it needed one more episode to kind of ease into the reveals and then maybe give us a little more reflection time too. There wasn't really any of that for everything we've been through with these characters. It kind of just resolved and left. So it was an odd pacing where the rest of the season felt very well paced. So that was the biggest letdown for me for this episode. But still very solid and still a lot of satisfying moments and great character moments. Like I'm saying, I think Eugene and Enid were the standouts of the finale. I'm giving this one an 8.4, and I added all my scores up, averaged them out for the season as a whole, and it comes to an 8.8 for me, which I think is great. That's great for a first season with a show with a lot of hype to it, a lot of pressure to live up to this iconic character, and I think overall for the season. I really enjoyed it. I mean, how can you not just hit it out of the park with having Tim Burton, Jenna Ortega, Christina Ricci, Danny Elfman? Just great team behind it, and really saw a lot of love was put into it. So it makes me excited for season 2, which is definitely going to get renewed for sure. It's going to kill in the viewership, so I can't wait for that. Thank you for joining me for this season and watching all my reviews. Please let me know what you thought of every episode, of the season as a whole. I love to hear your thoughts. I read every comment, try to respond as many as I can. And please make sure to subscribe. It helps me in so many ways you have no idea. Follow me at Steve Varley Show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for more of me. And I'll see you next time.